What is up, winning team? Hello and welcome to the Wicked Witch of the West Awards 2023. Yes, I am going to rank some of the greatest wicked witches of the West, of big tech, of the Holly Weird, all these different women who have overwhelmingly done so well, have got A+, A* grades in their work for the Kingdom of Darkness this year, guys. I cannot wait. We've got some really interesting people on the list, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear how I've decided to rank them. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe if you're feeling the vibe and you want to join the tribe. Before I get into it, guys, before the video starts, pause the video and write your own thoughts in the comments. Tell me somebody you feel like has to be in the list. Somebody you think has to be in the list. And before I get into this, just to be very, clear, guys, there are so many candidates, so many nominees that could have made this list. I've just picked a list that I feel like is relevant to this channel, all the things that we've spoken about, and that I personally, if you were to ask me straight off the dome, from my humble experience, which is obviously not of all things, I don't even know, who knows what really goes on behind closed doors, right? There's so many people and ways we could have gone about this. This is just my take. So I have based this on all women who I would consider witches as far as the Western world. However, do not take it too much to heart, as there are other people who could be involved. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into it. At our number 10 spot. At number 10, the lowest ranking individual here, and this was hard for me to choose who was the lowest, Melinda Gates, wife of Bill Gates. Now, the reason why I've chosen her is, of course, they've now divorced. They've divorced now because she's like, well, I don't know, there was like this shady stuff going on in our marriage, and like, I don't know, he had some weird behaviors from a long time. I'm like, great, but how long did you stay? And how much money did you walk away with? Because the thing is, darling, is that I just think it's a little bit coinkadinkly for you to all of a sudden have a soul when you get to walk away as a multimillionaire. And the reason why I put her on this list, just to be quick, and then we'll move on to the next one, is because she, for me, represents a lot of females today. Because a lot of us women walk around like, oh, men are their problem. We're like these victims, vulnerable victims of everything and nothing. And everything that the male community does, it's the patriarchy. They're so misogynist. We talk about all of that. But we don't talk about how many women sit while there's tyranny, treachery going on, know that it's happening, and turn a blind eye. But we're going to come more onto that in somebody who's a much higher ranking in this list. Let's go to our number 9 spot. Now, it surprised me that she ended up on this spot, on this level, but you guys will see why. Just follow with me. And I'll explain maybe at the end of the video how I came up with this ranking system. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, yes, the woman who became beloved by so many women, in particular on TV for her talk show, and has a lot of people have gone on there to share the deeper, harder stories of things that they've gone through. Well, this year, if it was this year, I get confused on the years, guys. I feel like I live outside of time sometimes. But anyway, was very distastefully, despite being a multimillionaire, asked others to give money to, I believe it was the fires happening in is it in Maui or in Hawaii? I'm not sure, guys. I'm really bad at knowing exactly geographical things. I never remember anything to do with geography. I'm learning though. I'm practicing. You guys know what I'm talking about. She was asking everybody for money, and she was like, guys, you need to save money. And people are like, you're freaking rich as hell. Also kind of sketchy that it just so happens to be the place where you and your other Hollywood people don't have properties, that there were these fires weren't happening there. But we won't talk about that in this video. But the absolute finishing argument for none other than Oprah Winfrey is her affiliations and associations to Harvey Weinstein. Need I say more? Her, and I love that this people would still see. I love how we live in a world that is so irritating, that we will be so hard and fast. Like, we want to protect the kids. And we want to protect victims of this type of behaviors and all of that. But then we will like run blindly still supporting the likes of people like Oprah Winfrey. Baffles me. Let's go straight to our number 8 spot. Oh yes, this woman. Karine Jean-Pierre. So US Press Secretary, I believe that's her official title. If I'm mistaken, then my apologies. She, for me, is one of those people that I see on the internet and I just wish, what other job? Like, there has to be somewhere else hiring instead of you standing there talking so much crap in the White House. Like, please shut up. Like, this woman, she looks, and the way she looks as well, she looks like, she looks delulu. She looks like something's not quite working straight or well going on in her mind. Every time I see this woman talk, I'm just like, why are we here? Like, why are you here? She's only been here, I think it's since last year. Don't get me wrong. She's the perfect puppeteer for the corrupt governments and whatnot. Puppet, sorry. But and that's why I put her at a higher level than the other two ladies, just because in comparison to the other two ladies, I think she's more likely to be somebody that like people know about, based on if you follow politics, like a greater, more wider audience overall. In our number 7 spot, we have none other than Amber Heard. We thought you forgot. No, I did not forget, guys, because Amber Heard, of course. And this is where we start to talk about how I've ranked these women, because I've ranked them based on how much I think that the impact of their behavior, in a way, in fact, is infecting the future of us as a society and modern Western society. Now, why have I put Amber Heard here? Because I believe that she is just another little pawn of Satan utilized to continue stabbing, poking, prodding, reopening, extending, expanding the wounds that us as men and women have between each other. She's another reason for women to think they can get away with tyranny and being selfish and lying on men's names and just utilizing the deception of femininity and the benefits we have as a woman, which is that people are more likely to believe you've been hurt physically because you're a woman, and we are biologically the weaker vessel. Oh, the phrase people don't want to hear. But you know what I'm saying? We weaponize that, and then it creates this society where now people who go through actual stuff, and I can say this to somebody who's been through actual real life violences, whether they be just physical or sexual types of violences, right? That I know that I for sure, in the world that exists after Amber Heard, I'm even less likely to try and speak up about anything. Less likely, because now it's going to become about, oh, well, we need the proof of this, we need the proof of that. That's the point. That's why I believe that she is a pawn of Satan, as in he knows that now real victims are going to find it more difficult to get justice because they're going to have to bring more proof to the table. And also, the other side of it is the male community are going to retreat a little bit from the female community because, whoa, I don't want to get caught up in that. I don't want to do this, that. It's causing more division. And of course, Amber Heard, being the heinous witch that she was, continues to thrive in her career. Meanwhile, we had Johnny Depp, who had explained previously how he had seriously adverse symptoms. Part of the reason he was doing drugs and things because of her. And then her running off doing, Merman, whatever, with Jason Momoa, whatever it is, thriving in her career while he's losing jobs. So again, what was the message we're sending as a woman? What is the spell that's being cast to the male community from the Wicked Witch of the West, Amber Heard? Yeah, a woman can destroy your whole reputation and career just with a lie. So you better back up and you better step away. And so that's why she's made it in the number 7. Now let's go to number 6. And number 6 for me is one that I really am just so passionate about, but we won't talk about in depth. Colleen Ballinger, popularly known at the minute because she did her ukulele apology and people are feeling like it was the worst apology on YouTube. I can't even lie to you. I agree. It was really the worst apology on YouTube. Now, if you don't know the backstory, I shall explain for you guys. The backstory of it is this. She was basically found out. Colleen Ballinger, also known as Miranda Sings, the comedian who talks in a kind of funny voice, known to, overdraw her red lipstick. She's been famous for quite a while. And it's interesting to me because I came across her content. In fact, I watched a lot of her content, I think like last year or something, because she documented her whole pregnancy journey. Now, I found that really fascinating because she kind of decided to prioritize being with her children or her son at the time and her family overwork while still working. And I thought it was a very real type of experience as a woman of today, is that, a lot of people, despite whatever a lot of people have to say online, a lot of families do not live in a reality where there can be just a stay-at-home parent, whether it be the man or the woman, right? So I thought it was fascinating. So I watched basically everything, and I myself became uncomfortable with her content because I realized that she spends a lot of time talking with children. I found her relationship with Jojo Siwa, who is now an adult, very inappropriate, because why are you such close friends with a child? Now, again, I worked with children, and I've had to do all the training that they teach you, about like safeguarding and children and vulnerable adults types of training, and all these types of training I've had to do, like from working and teaching and stuff. So I know what people, and I've had the stuff to understand that, children are in a very vulnerable position purely based on the fact that they are a child. And therefore it's our job as adults to maintain the respectful boundaries in any which way and other, on their behalf. It's not up to them. And that's why I really love that we're in a society where we've acknowledged that consent has to be from a certain age, and we do not accept consent past, I think it depends on, is it 18? I think it's 18. I have to check because I get confused sometimes between, is that the marriage law or the what law? But anyway, the point is, we as a society have accepted that there is an age where children do not have the capacity to make the decision about if something is consensual for them or not, right? Praise Jesus. Here's the problem, and here's why I've put Colleen Ballinger on this list. It's not even because of her inappropriate relationship with children. It's because her inappropriate relationships with children, for me, is just a highlighted form of what already exists. Like, we as humans of today on social media as adults, like, I'll give you guys this example. The Charli D'Amelio example is the example I always give when I talk about this particularly. The Charli D'Amelio example is quite simply this. Charli D'Amelio was like number one on TikTok for so long, right? She was like, when TikTok became the thing, she was number one for a while. She was underage. She was dancing inappropriately for being underage. And everybody, including adults, were supporting it, were copying her videos, were doing all these things. And I was extremely uncomfortable. It's one of the reasons I didn't even download TikTok all that time, and why I even struggle with TikTok now. So my thing is, it's been a while that us as adults on social media have normalized inappropriate relations with children online, inappropriately allowing kids to do things that shouldn't be doing online, right? And then praising them for it. All to eventually, when it hits them, when they get a bit older, right, and they realize what's fair and what wasn't fair and whatever, be like, oh no, like that's not how it was. I was just trying to be friendly. No. You had a responsibility. So for me, the fact she was as famous as she was for as long as she was, in the ways that she was, despite how blatant it was, everything that she did, maybe she put a spell on everybody because it should have been obvious. Because when I saw it, I cut it off. And it's to the point now where people are having to talk about even Jojo Siwa, one of the girls who's well known. There's lots of people who are attached to Colleen who are in. And when I say she's inappropriate, let me just tell you guys that she was sending these kids. She sent some of these kids because she was friends with Trisha Paytas, who I support a lot. I really respect Trisha Paytas for a very simple reason. No matter how chaotic she's ever been on the internet and whatever people think of her, she always drew the line when it came to kids, more than I see a lot of super famous creators doing. She drew the line at kids. In fact, the reason she fell out with Shane Dawson and her ex, I can't remember his name right now. I wish I could remember his name. All these and David Dobrik and all these people. That wasn't her ex. There was another guy, Jason, and all these people. She fell out with them because of inappropriate behaviors that these people. No, it wasn't even Shane Dawson. It was Jason and David Dobrik, because some of the things they would try to do is bring in like underage girls to do stuff for like bits in videos, and she was like, nah, I don't mess around with past a certain age. Bearing in mind that her herself, she's a sex worker. She makes that type of content. She makes very explicit, provocative kind of content, But so she had some of her content that she has, and she even talked about how she has a paywall, like the fact that people have to pay to engage in her content. She feels comfortable putting her stuff out there because at least it's adults who have consented with their mind and money as adults to pay for her stuff. that content Colleen was sending to some of these kids and laughing with the kids, like, look at her, ha 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 ha. How inappropriate. But how does this happen? It happens in a society of kids that are unprotected and unsupervised. And I just wanted to include Colleen in this list just to make that clear, that is what I believe of the society that we're in. We're in a society where children are unsupervised, unprotected and unsupervised, and then we wonder why they turn out the way that they do. Well, of course they turn out this way because they're unsupervised and they're unprotected. We as a community should have been cracking down. How old is this person? I can speak about this from my perspective because I'm 26 years old, right? And I even just like the other month literally got ID'd for buying a can of Prime, right? I bought a can of Prime energy drink, which I'm not going to say my thoughts on Prime. Actually, I'll leave it out. Which in the UK, you have to be 16 to buy. I'm 26. So you mean to tell me that when I was 13 years old on Facebook and there was grown-ass men telling me, you look so old for your age, you look 18, you look to whatever. Lies. But I already know that now because now I'm an adult. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that's at number 6. I know, guys, I made it a little bit heavy right there, but I'm sorry. What needed to be said needed to be said. The witchcraft is witching. What can I say? I don't make the rules here. At number 5, now, guys, brace yourself because we're having a actually not as violent of a turn as you might feel like, but at the number 5 spot, I have put none other than Taylor Swift. Now, brace yourself for one moment. With Taylor Swift, I have been kind of watching her, because she's always been pretty popular consistently. One thing on a very more surface, superficial, maybe not that important kind of level is that I don't appreciate any type of career that is being built in terms of us as men and women based on, like, people say to her, like, oh gosh, every breakup that she goes through, like, that's her, like, next album, right? So people are like, like, that's the thing. I don't like that. I don't like that kind of energy of, like, us thriving as women because of, like, oh, we've been through all of this, all of that. I'm not really a fan of that energy, but I wasn't so mad about it until the next level came. And this is when I started to realize that Satan is at work, because a lot of obviously Swifties started to say stuff like, oh, well, no one knew who Travis was because now she's a Travis Kelce or whatever. Is that his name? Travis Kelce or Casey? I think it's Kelce. Oh my gosh, my shirt is actually back to front. Travis, I think it's Travis Kelce. Hold on. Okay, so here's what I was saying. I feel like with Travis, so this whole Travis Kelce, whatever, it made it seem like women, or this caused a rift between men and women because a lot of fellas were upset because they were like, oh, how are you gonna like act like we knew who he was, you guys just didn't know who he was. And once again, it's another issue between us as men and women. I'm freaking sick of it and tired of this. Oh, it's an issue. And so now we have the entitlement of like, oh my gosh, like Taylor's with Travis, like now that because she's with him, like now he's relevant. And then the guys being like, he was so relevant and we actually don't even care about her as well. If you guys can see what I'm saying, it just adds to the already, I don't know how to call it, like, what's the word? Division between us as men and women. So then that was a problem. But here was the thing that really made me actually put her on the list. I haven't even got there. The thing that actually made me put her on the list was this. The fact that when one of these YouTube creators that makes cartoons, that makes fun of people, listen guys, I think that's cool. I think it's funny. If somebody made a cartoon about me, I would probably laugh at it. Like, it's extremely unlikely I wouldn't laugh at it unless they were being like actually, it's extremely unlikely I wouldn't laugh at it. If they based it on things I've actually said and done, I'll laugh at it. And I would probably laugh. It's actually very unlikely I wouldn't laugh at it, to be honest, because I like to be made fun of. And I hope one day to have my own roast. I would love to have a roast one day because that would be hilarious. And that's why I love when my brothers roast me, because it's actually really funny, right? Anyway, they made this roast about, they didn't roast her, so they just made this video and was kind of joking about Taylor. And the point is, it isn't even that her fans were unhappy. It's how they responded is what got me. These fans were like trying to throw out spells and hexes and I'm gonna like we went straight to the demonic. So You mean to tell me that you're a fan of her because she's just this sweet, lovely girl? I'm not saying she isn't, by the way. But then your response as her fan is witchcraft? Hello, can I just say something? Even if you don't believe in all that stuff, think about how crazy it is. If somebody actually believes that if they put a hex on you that you will die or you will never find love, that'll actually happen, and then they actually do it. Even if you don't believe it, but they do, think about how nuts it is for a human being to do something like that to you. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, let's all go assume these things are going to happen. I'm saying just think about the intent of that. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. I've seen hatred. I've seen people even telling themselves to unalive each other. I've seen all sorts. When we got to the level of witchcraft, I was like, Taylor Swift, you need to talk to your fans. You guys need to have some kind of conversation, like a deeper conversation. And like, I don't know what is going on there. But anyway, number 4, of course, guys. And it surprises me looking at my list that she's at number 4, but it has to be 4 because I know why, and I'll explain why in due course. Beyonce. Now, I really see Beyonce and Taylor Swift, honestly, kind of as two sides of the same coin, if you ask me. Both kind of problematic to modern women at this point, if you ask me. Beyonce, let's talk about her. Well, first of all, she's a complete hypocrite. She has made a lot more music recently, you know, in terms of like, kind of playing into this, whatever this demonic version of women is in modern society. And at the same time, living a completely hypocritical life. Because at the same time, she's saying, I don't need a man, I don't need this, all these things she's saying in her lyrics. Is it not you with the same man you're married to and your daughter you have together who everybody's going crazy about you dancing with on stage? So if the women that you're talking about don't need a man, then how are they going to be dancing on stage with their daughters if they want to be the next Beyonce? You know what I'm saying? And not to mention the fact that your own mum comes out talking about how she believes you're on drugs that are being given to you by Jay-Z. Not to mention the fact that Jay-Z is the one who's basically controlled your career at this point. But not to mention the fact that before that it was your dad. So that makes you a hypocrite. You're saying who run the world, girls? Who runs your world? Jay-Z, and before was your father? Not even you, my friend. And then you want to be like, oh, we don't need a man. I'm just in my girls. I just know you don't, because your girl is your daughter who you're standing on stage dancing with that's looking a hell of a lot like freaking Jay-Z, my friend. So that in and of itself. But then also it's the chokehold that she has that puts her this high in the list for me. It's the chokehold, like that people believe in Beyonce as a god. Like, I'll give you guys an example. This is just one example because it's one video, so I'm not going to get into this in depth. If you guys want me to get into in more depth of why the demonic influence of Beyonce, please do ask. The reason why I'm saying this is because even myself, so when I was a cheerleader, when I was doing cheerleading, I remember just before my last competition with one of my teams, we were backstage. We're about to go onto the mat. We were like just behind stage. And like, I always pray before everything, like everything I do, any performance, any competition, anything, any exam, I always pray. That's why I actually believe I'm a winner, because it's a winning strategy, is that I pray, I invite the Holy Spirit, you know what I'm saying? And so I was praying. I decided I was going to pray, but then I was like, let me ask if anybody else wants to pray with me, because maybe some people want to pray. If they don't, they don't. If they do, they do. Anyways, we end up all praying, the whole cheer team. And I'm praying for the whole cheer team, like for us to do well. And I was sincere in my prayer because I really wanted us to do well. And I wanted to see everybody happy. I wanted to see everybody thriving. As soon as we're done with this, somebody else says, let's pray to Beyonce. And like, I have no issue with this in and of the fact that you as a human have your 100% right to pray to whoever and whatever you want to. It was just the fact that I prayed to, it was like, I felt like I just prayed to my God and now you're praying to your God. And it was like the same kind of prayer. And it just like these little experiences I've had lots of little experiences of these kinds of things where I realized that Beyonce is such a chokehold. Like even when I look at the society, so many women, when you ask them, if you could meet anybody, who would you meet? Oh, Beyonce. If you could meet Beyonce. I'm like, what are you going to learn from her? What are you going to take home? What wisdom are you going to gain? Like, how is that going to push your life forward? Because anyways, her music contradicts her lifestyle. Anyways, she's the one talking about you can do OnlyFans and do whatever. I can't remember, but she's the one who quoted OnlyFans in her song, and then all of a sudden everybody was on OnlyFans. But you're a married woman with a child. Like, make it make sense. Anyway, let's leave it because we've still got a couple more people on the list. We've got the top 3. And our number 3 spot, it was hard for me to put her as number 3, not number 2. Lou M. Taylor. Lou M. Taylor, the, I think at least co-founder, but probably founder of TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group, the huge company that represents both people in the entertainment industry, artists, and also professional athletes. Lou M. Taylor, the person who, when Britney Spears was first starting out, only had a couple of clients and came across Britney because of her mom, because women a lot of the times are the ones doing the things. And then Britney's mom was like, hey, James, my husband, I know you like been a problem and you've got like so many issues. Like, do you want to like talk to Lou M. Taylor? And all of a sudden, fast forward, she has such a chokehold on the industry. Because as I told you guys before, she represents the likes of Travis Scott. She represents Britney Spears. She represents Meghan Trainor. And recently has taken over a lot of Justin Bieber's career. This is, if I'm understanding correctly, as far as like management. Lou M. Taylor, the hidden Satan. And the thing about her that I think is fascinating is that whenever people talk about her on the internet who have like some kind of platform, she's the one who actually shuts people down. Like, there's a lot of people you could talk about, like a lot of the people I've mentioned, nothing will happen. Her, if anybody on this list that I mentioned is going to get this video taken down at any point, it's going to be her. Because that's who she is. She's built her career off of taking advantage of these people for the sake of money. Very deeply demonic woman. Her husband is supposedly a pastor. I'm not buying it. And again, she has a mostly female workforce now. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was like 70 or 75% of her workforce is female. So again, when we're talking about this, vulnerability of kids and children and vulnerable adults and women, it's women a lot of the time sitting in these chairs that are making these decisions. Hello, Lou M. Taylor. Keeping Britney Spears in a conservatorship for 15 years? Yeah. Let's go to number 2. Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner, the epitome of what I believe is a demonic woman. The woman that encapsulates the world and just like, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? There's like a perfect word for this. It's like it'll come to me when it needs to come to me. She perfectly puts this spell on the world that we already all believe in. The loving mother. If you're a mom, you must be loving. You must be, all you care about is your kids. That's what they all do. Her and her daughters. Oh, we just care about our kids. You put a price on your daughter's body. You're the executive producer and director on your daughter's sex tape. Explain how that's a loving mother. But because we all believe in this idea, which should exist in a world where God was actually where he should be for all of us, yes, a loving mother's love is to be trusted. In the world we live in, no. But we'll put all of that into Kris. When she's got one daughter who got rich by telling people, use my lip kit, you'll have big lips like me. Or actually, it's lip filler, and then everybody's getting lip filler now. Oh, yeah, do these workouts, have this body like me. Everyone's getting BBLs. These things that these Kardashians have done, the Kardashians have added so much, and I don't even blame the daughters, because I blame her. I blame her because she was always the money-hungry one. She was the one that cheated on OJ. She was only cheating on Rob Kardashian, the guy who's even given her the name that she's even walking around with. Freaking cheat on the guy, my friend. And then you put a price on your daughter's body, and you continue to do so, and you continue to allow it. And then people wonder why, Kanye was like trying to control Kim. No, Kanye valued Kim more than Kim valued herself, even than her mum did. He said, your body is so valuable, you should never put a price on it. And her mum, that's why Kris is in the place of second. Because she, for me, and that family, look at North West. And this is all I have to say on this. And then I'm going to do my final person. North West, if you look at her, people always talk about her personality is exactly like her dad, but who does she actually look like? She looks like what Kim Kardashian looks like before surgery. If you look at Kim Kardashian before all the procedures she had, that is who North looks like. And that's the point. That's my point. That this stupid thing, this stupid witchcraft spells that we're under, of trying to change our face, it's not going to translate. That's why I won't get plastic surgery, because my daughter isn't going to be able to change, my daughter's going to come out looking like me. If I go and change my nose to have a more European nose, and if I go do this to my face and do it, my daughter's not going to have that body. She's going to have something that resembles how I look. And when I look at Kim Kardashian before the surgeries and everything, that's exactly what North West looks like. And this is how we're here because of Kris Jenner. Like, I'm just doing this for my kids. I'm just the loving momager. Like, the loving mother is the greatest facade for Satan. But we won't get too much into that because we've got one more loving mother to add to the list. None other than at her number one spot at the wickedest woman of the year. Her own band is called Wicked Wisdom, has caused probably the most upset on terms of social media in the modern Western society amongst men and women. We have none other than Jada Pinkett Smith, the woman who has treated a man so poorly that he should clearly walk away. He should clearly step away. He should clearly know that she does not care about you. She is selfish. He is going through all these things. He who is so talented and intelligent has fell to his knees at the face of a evil woman, as we've seen happen many times in the Bible, like the book of Ahab and Jezebel. Jada and Will are like Ahab and Jezebel. Like, Ahab, you're supposed to be the king. God's made you to be a king, and you're allowing your kingship and you're allowing your position to be destroyed because of a woman, a wicked woman of all sorts. At least let it be a woman who is worth it. Somebody who loves you. You know what I'm saying? Jada is the most selfish, and it's the way that she's so comfortable. She's at a different level of comfortability. When I tell you guys about some people have given themselves over to darkness, and there's a difference between you wrestling with God to try to understand where he's taking you, and you having given yourself over to darkness. She's given herself over. That's why she can say whatever she knows. She can say whatever she wants. She doesn't care. It's a deception of femininity. Society is not ever going to really look that deeply into it. But then in reality, and this is why she's at number one, because the reason why how I ranked this list is how I believe it will affect us in modern society, particularly people who are not in a relationship. She has made it so that, again, as women, it's attractive. Yeah, be this tyrannical woman, get everything you want, be selfish, just like the great prostitute in the book of Revelations. I've just finished the whole series. You guys need to check it out. The great prostitute, Babylon. Just like that. She's selfish. She's thriving only for a time until the Lord does what he's doing. At the expense of a man who obviously, I don't know if I can call it love. At this point, I call it witchcraft. Like, he's obviously she must have done a love spell or something. I don't know. Because I think a lot of people are like, why isn't Will walking away? Because that's the power of a woman. And that's why I've made this series, Wicked Witches of the West. Because I'm not going to sit here as a woman and allow all these women to get away with their treachery and their heinous behavior, and us just act like, oh yeah, like, no. Yeah, there's a lot of men who are problematic. Don't get me wrong. I've made videos even about some of them. There's a lot of us who are contributing massively. And in fact, our contribution is greater because when they affect the women, it changes how we act, and the way we act changes how we react with men, and that changes the men also. So now guys are even going to be even more wounded again because of Jada. If they've had any type of a Jada in their life, it's, oh, I'm definitely never falling in love again. I'm definitely never trying this again because of her. Again, exactly what Satan wanted in the Garden of Eden. Notice how God didn't specify at the end, oh, Adam or Eve was worse. Who was the first person he spoke to? The snake. Because as if to say that, yes, we're going to have our issues between each other and differences and all these things. The problem and the enemy was the snake in the garden. The problem and the enemy was Satan. But Satan did what he does best, which is make us think we're each other's enemies. And then we fight against each other, and it's a never-ending fight. It's an infinite fight because we're not going to ever get to the solution. Because the solution isn't in each other. The solution is we just don't understand each other, which is part of being men and women. We're very different from each other, which is why gender is a serious thing that we really need to stop pretending isn't serious in modern society. But at the end of the day, we are not each other's enemy. We're each other's ally. We need each other. We need each other. Like, us as men, we need each other. I need men. I love having men in the world. I love men. I love men. It's probably one of the things I hate about myself the most, because of the world we live in, where it's like, what's the point? Because all the stuff I just said, like, you know what I'm saying? Where we're not in that position, but I'm not going to back down, and I'm not going to be taken out because a Wicked Witch is like, of Jada. And if there's any women listening to this video, let's just not be these wicked women. That's the point. Anyways, guys, thank you, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you watch this all the way through, please let me know, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Shout out to all of you guys. Happy holidays whenever you get to hear this. I love you all from the winning team, because if life's a game, let's play to win. We only do winning around here. Join if you want to. That's just what we do. Praise be the name of Jesus. Thank you to the Holy Spirit, and thank you to God. God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one.